everybody. I'm going to start again. This is Terry Wager, and I am with Boom Nation. I am one of the coaches here, and we are talking about how to develop high-performance teams. The question of how to develop a high-performance team starts with a definition. Now, this is a coaching call, so that means if you have questions, go ahead, raise your hand. We'll see it raised, and we'll call on you. We want to make sure that we answer any questions you have about developing high-performance teams tonight. Or if you have any other questions that we can field, we'd love to help you. We want to help you grow your business. We want to help you grow your network. We want to help you grow, period. So, definition of a high-performance team that I use is a team that's highly skilled people working cross functions in areas that come together to achieve a common business goal. A team has to be aligned. It has to be working together with shared values from their vision and their mission. And so they're always working towards a common objective, even if they're doing different pieces of the objective. Highly effective teams are innovative, they're problem solving, and whether they're working in marketing or they're working in sales or they're working in fulfillment or they're working to just have better communication in any of those areas inside of those teams, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about high performance. Each piece of the team coming together. If you have a marketing team of 3 people, one person might be graphics, logos, visual arts, one person might be copy. But if the copy person is arguing or not agreeing and not listening to the logo person, graphics person, and you have conflict, that doesn't mean just in itself that there's a problem, but we have to come to some kind of understanding between the two in order to be the high performance. Now, a lot of times people don't pay attention to their conflict or avoid conflict, and that's going to cause problems in the team because they just do what they want. And then later they come together and they don't have agreement. And so one of the biggest pieces for me when we're talking about high performance teams is we're moving towards agreement, we're moving towards alignment, we're moving towards really moving forward as a team. Everybody's not going to agree all the time, but understanding what's working and what's not is how we get to high performance. And so one of the things that I want to talk about just a little bit is what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about, like we said, what a high performance team and how it looks. We're going to talk about different models. We're going to talk about building that high performance team and the benefits of high performance teams, which seems pretty obvious. And then again, developing that high performance team is really all, when it comes together, what we're doing. And it's about accomplishing the goals of the business. So when we start thinking about what it looks like, effective work practice is one of the first things we think of. What's effective? How is your plan working? Are you moving towards a plan? Is everybody doing their own thing? Is there a bunch of silos on your team? If you're a bunch of silos, then nobody's communicating. You can't have a team moving forward if your marketer that's doing copy is just doing his own thing, but it doesn't match up with what you got pictures. Your graphics aren't looking the same as what they're talking about. You got to have it come together. If you have somebody doing traffic or somebody doing ads, but it doesn't match with the copy, it confuses the buyer. They're not going to buy. And so we want to make sure that when we're looking at effective practices, everybody's talking. And, you know, there's a lot of people that talk about everybody getting along and everybody being on the same page. But how do you get everybody on the same page? Now, one of the things I found working with teams as long as I have is that people really avoid conflict a lot and they want to get along. But what they end up doing is they don't talk about what's bothering them, and then they can't move forward because they're all avoiding the conflict. So you have to address the conflict. You have to have those conversations where people aren't agreeing and understand where the disagreement is coming from. Is it in the vision? Is it in the mission? Or is it in the execution? Is it because we're going after the wrong thing? I'll give you a little story. The other day, my team, we're working on a logo, we're working on a messaging, and I had this great idea of putting words underneath that aren't in our brand, what do you call it? Christine, what's that called?
What?
Our brand, what? The stuff that, guidelines, that's it. Thank you. Our brand guidelines, I could not remember the word. And see, I got a teammate right here that was able to go, hey, it's guidelines. And so I was trying to use words that weren't in our brand guidelines, but I liked how they looked. And so they're like, it's not our brand guidelines. I want to argue with that. I'm like, but it looks cool. And they're like, but it's not our brand. And so that's the conflict. Now, if you have a number of those and you continue to work through each one of those little conflicts, you start to become much more effective in what you're doing, because every little thing, they could have said, you know what, it's not that big a deal, but then they give in to me, and then I go off brand, I don't follow our guidelines, and then I start confusing people. Meanwhile, we become less effective because people start seeing all kinds of different things and it starts confusing them. And so effective work practices is staying within guidelines, staying in guidelines in meetings, staying in guidelines with your brand, staying in guidelines with how you talk about what you do. And that comes from being able to have mutual respect. See, I have a respect for my team. I have a respect for the people who created the brand guidelines. I was part of the brand guidelines. We all came to agreement on that, but we also pointed out what we liked, what we didn't like. We had conflict around that. And so we have to be able to have conflict, and we have to address it, and we have to talk about what we like and don't like. We have to talk about why I think it's a bad idea or why I think it's a good idea. And then we come to agreement. We have to align on that, and we all have to decide, yes, this is our brand guidelines. This is what we all agree with. And I'm using brand guidelines as an example.
On a scale of 1 to 5, would you give yourself a 5 on achieving what you want in life? If your answer is anything less than a 5, right now, I have something awesome for you. Achieving your goals and living your life at a 5 isn't easy. Most people aren't prepared to focus, stay disciplined, and do the everyday work that is necessary to achieve amazing results. But since you're watching this, then I'm guessing that you're not one of those people. And this is an opportunity that will change your life. Give to Get is a global program that brings together world-class coaching and combines it with empowering masterminds and networking opportunities. We provide 5-star guidance for the price of a cup of coffee a day. To find out more, click on the link in the description of this coaching session.
But the fact of the matter is the shared vision creates the guidelines. The shared mission creates the guidelines. And in fact, the mission is part of the vision. It's a guideline of the vision. And so as we move through, that mutual respect becomes the place where we can actually have those disagreements, where we can really talk about what's working and not working for us, what we want to see. And the conflict comes out of what I'm thinking, the direction I want to go versus the direction other people want to go. And you might have 5 people on the team, you have 5 different ways we want to go. That's a lot of conflict. And you solve it by talking about it, bringing every little piece. Oh, that word is calligraphy, and that's not in our brand guidelines. Oh, okay. Well, I really liked it, but we don't have to do it here. And so being able to have that mutual respect of each team member by realizing that we're on the same team and we're moving in the same direction. And then again, it all stems from a shared vision. Now, for me, I'm the CEO of our group. I'm the CEO of Generator Coaching. That's my company. And so I share a vision. And then I listen to the other people about, are they along with this vision? Is my vision the right vision? Do I have 20/20? Or am I a little blind? Do I have a little blurriness around my vision? Do I have double vision where I'm going this way, but I'm going that way? That's a problem. And so my team and I discuss what the vision is and what really Generator is all about. We talk about being a company that helps people move like a bullet train of action towards their goals. And so how do we show up? What does that mean? How does that show up for them? And what we talk about is really moving people along their own vision towards their own goals in the fastest way possible, helping them to get rid of their trash on the track, moving towards the success that they're looking for. And if you talk to all of my partners, that's what they talk about too, because we really discussed this metaphor of a bullet train on the way to success, removing the trash, keeping ourselves from derailing. We all talk about that. We all have that vision. And for us, we made a metaphor out of the whole process. And as we teach what we teach, we have stops along the way. The first stop is you. The second stop is the team. The third step is how you and the team go about getting leads, go about closing sales, go about being a fulfillment of customer service. And so if you talk to any one of the people at Generator Coaching, that's what we talk about. By the way, we also have a coach. We at Generator Coaching Consulting have a coach that helps us stay focused on our vision, focused on our mission. And we have open, clear communication. And so effective work practices, mutual respect among the leaders, among our CEO or our C-suite, shared vision. We actually talk about our vision weekly, and we talk about it open, and we get clear. We get very, very clear on what we're doing. And as we do that, this is what's causing us to become high performance, because clarity is king. When we have clarity, we can go anywhere we want in our kingdom. And so we're looking at how to create more clarity. As we're doing this, it really starts to move into focusing on, I've got a little bit of noise in the back room, so bear with me a little bit. But as we're looking at where we're going and how we're going there, we're really talking about communication. Having clear, concise communication. This is what a high performance team is really good at. It's about having conflict. It's about addressing the conflict, because conflict comes when we're trying to move forward. The different situations, the different ways we can go, what really matters, the different noise in the world that comes about. If you've read my book, quit taking your own bad advice. I talk about the noise in the world distracts us from our mission, distracts us from our vision. And so with clear communication, we can actually bring to each other's attention that we're off track. See the metaphor again. And so we really focus on how to be on track, how to move forward towards our destination, which is our success. How do we move forward? And one of our missions in our vision of building a very, very large company, helping people to find success, our mission is 100 millionaires. That's one little mission that we're really focused on right now. How do we build 100 millionaires? And so as we talk about that, we all focus on what's next, what is our movement forward to invite and enroll people into what we're doing. How do we do this? What's our marketing about? What's our messaging about? Who's our client? All of this is what we do with our C-suite, talking about what's next, who we're going after as far as clients, how we're servicing them, what we're providing for them. All of these things are discussed continuously. And if you think about a high performance team, we always think about results. We always think about, a high performance team because they're getting results. But the reality is, hi, Stephanie, it's good to see you. When we're looking at a high performance team, the one thing that we're looking at is results. And as far as the results go, you can only have it when you have clear communication of a vision, of a decision, moving forward towards that destination. And so we want to work together as that high performance team. And you only know that you're really doing what you're supposed to be doing if you're getting the results you're looking for. And so there's all kinds of different models of teams. But when I start thinking about how to create a stable team, it really moves back to identifying the different things that people are good at. I'm a visionary. I have a person on my team that's really good at systems. I have a teammate that's really good at putting funnels together and putting marketing together. So he heads up our marketing department. He understands what it takes to have a good marketing campaign. Then I have a teammate that's really good at putting into action the different steps that we're talking about and really organizing our next steps. And so these different people, they all come together. And as we talk about it, our marketer wants to do this. I want to do this. I want to go fast. Our marketer goes, no, we got to slow down. Our process coordinator, basically, our operations person goes, before we do any of that marketing and before we really go 100 miles an hour towards your vision, we have to think about what's next. Who are we working with right now? Who is our next person we're going with? And so really understanding what each step entails and mapping it out is super important in order to be able to move faster with a stable team. And so one of the big pieces that we have with each other in our team is trust. And it's a huge factor. It is the number one piece that we want to look at when we're building a team. Is there trust? It's not, did we just start out with trust? It's not like we just all came together and trusted. We built trust within the relationship. Now, I'm lucky because one of my number one partner is my partner in life, in business, Christine. And so we have a high amount of trust that we've developed over years before we got into business together. I've watched how she ran her business when she was working for Starbucks. She's amazing. I trust everything she does. And she trusts my skill and ability in being a visionary and being able to move people along their journey. And so we already had a mutual trust. Then we invited our friend who's a marketer, his name's Michael, and we really trust his ability as he worked with us on our project. And we started to see how much value he has and how much he aligns with our mission and our vision and our overall way of dealing with customers, and how his mission of love and service and being there for his clients was the same as ours. And so we had a conversation one day. We said, hey, we like what you're doing and you like what we're doing, and we can really help each other. Let's work together. And so we started developing a company out of a solo practitioner, which was me, brought in Christine, and now it became a little team, and now it's a group. And so as we move forward, we start to bring people in who align with us, who align with our goals, align with our vision, align with our mission. And we continue to talk about that. We continue to talk about how we can help other people move forward towards their goals and how we can actually move them faster. And building that cohesive team is all about aligning our values, really looking at what's the biggest thing that we want. We talk about service. We talk about serving our customers. How are we of maximum service helping them reach their goals? Boom Nation is a very good example for me. When Morrow started creating this idea, he enthused me. I got excited about it. And so I started talking to him and asking him questions about what he wanted it to look like. And every step of the way, as Boom Nation started being created, I was right there supporting him, listening to him, doing whatever I could to help him move along his vision, on his mission, towards his destination. And that's what I do with every company I work with, is I listen, I hear what's going on. And that's what we do as a team. a generator is we really focus on what we can do to move forward. And it's all about that open communication, the environment of, hey, what's your idea? I like that idea. I want to see how it can work to move us forward. We get all kinds of ideas. We put it on big whiteboards all over our office. We have all kinds of different ideas and we put them out there. And then we hone in on what's next. And then we erase the whiteboard when we understand what's next. And then we do it again. And what's next and what's next. Every time we look at where we're moving or who we're working with, or when we get into a conversation with another client, we have that first conversation about what you're looking for, how you're looking for it, what do you want that to look like? And then we go into really focused conversation around what's going to happen. How is this going to play out? What can we do and what can they do? And how are we working together? The biggest thing for us as a high performance team is we don't look at ourselves as working for somebody. We look for the idea and we approach it as we are working with them. We become partners with every person we work with, whether it's a person, an entrepreneur, or it's a business, a bigger business. We are a partner with them for their growth. And that's how we discuss it, is we are a partner with you for growth. In some deals, we actually work with them for equity. In some, we work for a cash investment payment. But however we do it, we really focus on partnering with them for growth. The first thing that we want to do when we do any kind of work with anybody is we learn what they're doing and what's working for them and what's going to help move them forward. We go into a business, we focus on learning. We're moving forward, not by going and telling you what you're going to do. We ask a lot of questions. We do a lot of work walking through and understanding how your business works, how you're making money, how you're servicing your customers, how you're getting your leads, how you're communicating with your team, how you're making your sales, how you communicate with yourself. We want to see all of how you do what you do. And as we do that, we go ahead and then start putting a plan together. And as we're putting the plan together, we ask more and more communication questions about what's going on, about how we can be of service. What do they think is working? What do you think is not working? We learn. And so we have a very, very, very high focus on learning what their business is and how that business is. Christine actually makes a joke that the reason I'm a coach, a business coach, is because I like to dabble in all kinds of businesses. I think it's actually true, but I get my hands in so many different businesses that I don't need to actually go start a bunch of businesses I would like to do, but I just become a part of each of these businesses. And I learn how to run a dental practice. I learn how to run a law practice. I learn how to run a real estate firm. I learn how to run all of these because I learn from my clients as I go. And then as I learn from them, I see where they have the trash on the track. I see where they're getting in their way. I see where they hesitate. I see where they start to procrastinate. And then I help them become more proficient at moving forward faster. I help them see where they're getting stuck. As I do that, they become more successful and they become high performers. Some people that I work with have a real hard time with conflict. And so I address that with them. I bring their attention to where they're avoiding conflict. Some people have too much conflict and they're not moving forward because they're so rigid and conflicting. Now Bruce is making me laugh. But they have too much conflict and everything is a problem. And so we remove the trash on the track. We help those people with conflict start really identifying what they're really conflicted about. And most of the time, it's an internal thing. We clear that away and they can move forward and they can communicate much better. Some people have that avoidance thing and they avoid conflict. We help them to develop skills so they can talk about what they really want to talk about. So they stop thinking so much and they start talking. so they can communicate, and we come together and we move forward faster. It doesn't matter what's happening. All of us have different performance blocks. And so when we understand what the performance blocks, as we learn about their company and learn about how they interact with people, we start to see how we can help them perform better. And as they perform better, they start to have more success. They start to enjoy it more, and they start to work harder. And so there's a real psychology around the idea of when we start removing performance blocks, we start to enjoy what we're doing more, and we start to perform faster and better. It becomes easier to move forward. And so the next thing that we really talk about, Christine and I, is we look at measurable goals. And I've talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I talked about KPIs and loving KPIs. I can't get enough of that, because that's how we know that we're moving forward. But when we're talking about key performance indicators, we're also talking about goals. We have to make goals. And I haven't talked too much about that, but I'm going to talk about it now, because we hear SMART goals all over the place. And the funny thing is SMART goals, as many of you know, is an acronym. And the acronym is specific. You want to have a specific, simple goal. And then M is measurable. You want to have a measurable goal. And then achievable. Assignable, attainable, agreed upon, achievable goal. And then relevant or realistic. You want to have that goal work towards what you're going for. And then the T is time bound. And those are traditional SMART goals. And they actually seem smart. Rationally, when you think about that, makes sense. However, I don't like them very much. It's kind of boring. And so when we're looking at growing on the bullet train of action, I look at those SMART goals as really run of the mill. It's like anybody can come up with that. In fact, we came up with that years and years ago, and that's how it showed up. Then there's dumb goals. Who here has ever heard of dumb goals? Those dumb goals. Dumb goals are dream-oriented. They're uplifting, they're exciting. We have a friend, Moro and I have a friend named Walter, and he is really good at dumb goals. Dream-oriented, uplifting, massive action, and barely attainable. That's dumb. Dream-oriented, uplifting, massive action, barely attainable. The problem with dumb goals isn't that they're dumb, it's that they create a lot of anxiety, they create a lot of pressure for people. And so people stay away from the dumb goals, they move to the SMART goals, because I can do specific, I can do measurable, I can do achievable. I made a real small goal. I'm going to make my bed today. Woo! I made my goal. And then it's relevant because, well, everybody has heard at one point or other, if you make your bed, you're going to have a great day. Well, and it only takes like a minute to do. So the funny thing is the SMART goal is really attainable, but they also don't do anything for us. They really keep us kind of stuck in a paycheck to paycheck, very, very small-minded kind of thing. And so what I was thinking about years ago, when I started talking about goals and helping people to create goals, is I thought, smart and dumb, why don't we shove them together and create a different SMART goal? And so here's what I came up with. This is my SMART goal formula. Stretching. We want to have a stretch goal. We want to have a specific goal, but then we want to stretch it with our dream. We want to start with the SMART, the S in SMART, and be specific, but then stretch the hell out of that thing. We want to get, so we're like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do that. And then we want to have a motivating goal. And the stretch motivates us, not just making our bed, but maybe carving a new bed. Whatever it is, we want that thing to stretch us. I don't think I can do it, but I'm going to work hard to do it. And then an actionable goal, not just an alignable goal, not just an assignable goal, not achievable, but actionable, something that you can take action on. When we take action on our goals, we start to move forward. I also, in this actionable goal, I want to create conflict. You heard it right here. I want to create conflict, because when we have conflict, it means we're thinking about what's next. It means we're doing something. It means that we're starting to get stressed a little bit. It means we're starting to care about what we're doing. And so when we have an actionable goal, it actually moves us into that conflict that gets us to start thinking. You should have heard a couple of different conversations Walter and I had, or Morrow and I had, when we're talking about these different projects that we work on, because we work on a bunch of different projects. But the fact of the matter is conflict creates creativity. It generates creativity. It moves us into going, okay, what's next and how do we get there? And then we start to really take action on those ideas, because an idea without action is procrastination. We just sit there, think, and it goes nowhere. And so take action, actionable goals that stretched us, that we stretched out, that we move forward. And it motivates us to do more. And then once we take action, now we got something to work with. I talked about it in another talk months ago or weeks ago, and probably months ago too. But the 3 E's: experiment, explore, and experience. When we take action, we're taking that experimental step. And then the R in my SMART goals is refining. It means exploring our experiment and then experiencing what worked and what didn't, and we can refine from there. By the way, refining is the next action after the first action. And so it's a continuous refinement of action, result, action, action, result, action. And so we start to move forward with our goals that are stretching us, moving forward. And through these, we want to have a transformation. We want to have a transformation of the thought into action, into a result. And so our SMART goals that we're using here at Generator Coaching, and I invite anybody to adopt them, is a stretching, motivating, actionable, refining, and transformative goal that helps us to attain the desires that we have in life. And so high performance teams, if you look at every one of them, that are high performance, they all stretch. They're all motivated. Everybody on the team. And how do you know that a team mate is not a high performer? Because they quit the team or they get kicked out. Because they're not motivated. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're not just in conflict, but they're rigid and they stop forward progress. And most of the time, a high performance team doesn't need to kick somebody out because the person will just leave. And so if you're on a team and you see it's a high performing team and you want to leave, you better look. Am I not motivated? Am I not taking the action? What's going on with me? And if you're having problems with that, get a hold of me. I can help you become a high performer. That's what we do at Generator. We help high performers become higher performers. We help teams really work through the conflict and be able to move forward. As they refine their processes and move forward, we see results happen more and more and more. And so these goals, when we're looking at how a high performance team works, it's all about starting with vision, moving to a mission. You got to start with a vision. If you don't have any vision, you're blind. You just can't see anything. So you start with the vision, and then you go on a mission. And then you create some goals that come from that mission. And as I said, we want stretching goals. We want to look how forward you're going. Are you just taking little steps? Or are you taking leaps and bounds? Are you just making a paycheck? Or are you starting to really step forward? Whether you own one small business or you own a corporation, do you want to expand? Let me ask you this. If you want to expand, why haven't you? Why haven't you actually taken the action to expand? Why are you allowing yourself to just get comfortable? Are you walking around pretending you're busy, not taking the action to move yourself forward. We all know that there's actions to take. And what we do is we actually settle for good enough. But good enough isn't great. Good enough doesn't get you moving forward. Good enough doesn't get you where you want to go. And then there's this thing that I call quiet desperation. Quiet desperation looks like this. You tell yourself out loud that you're doing everything you can to grow your business. Meanwhile, you have this little voice in the back of your head going, hey, you could do better. Hey, why aren't you doing that? Hey, what's going on? Are you quitting? And you hear this in the back of your voice while you're sitting there telling yourself you're doing as much as you can. And then you tell yourself out loud, someday I'll grow, but right now isn't working. And you settle. And then you start beating yourself up. And as you're beating yourself up, you make all kinds of excuses for why you haven't done it yet. And you blame, and you shame, you point out all those things, and you know it's you. We know it's us. When we're not growing, when I'm not growing, I know it's me. I can talk about anybody else and all the different, it's COVID, it's masks, it's these people, it's those people. It's me. It's never anyone else when I'm not growing. And so if I want to make change, I have to put my hand up and say, it was me. Got to own it. Exactly. Got to own it. Got to say, okay, it's me. What do I do? And then we got to turn ourselves into a coach. And I don't mean like make ourselves a coach. I mean, turn ourselves over to somebody who knows the brilliance of others will get us there. It's all what I talk about in my book. When Christine and I weren't growing the way we wanted, we hired a coach. We hit a certain level and it wasn't moving us where we wanted to go. We hired a new coach. And then we got a new coach. We're moving along the direction we want to, and we're growing leaps and bounds, and we're really happy with where we're at, but we continue to stretch. We continue to focus on what we need to learn. We continue to focus on what's next, how to upskill, how to really refine what we're doing. Whenever we get close to a goal, we don't sit there and celebrate that we got close to the goal. We celebrate that we just created a new one. And we focus on what's next. We hit a certain amount, we double it. We look at really doubling. Because when we double, it scares us. Oh God, I don't know if I can do that. Okay, that's our goal. And so we see what we can do to move forward again. And we partner with people who have aligned ideals, aligned missions and visions, and see how we can grow together. A high-performance team is always looking for how to improve through communication, through learning, through action, moving forward. A good goal should scare you and excite you all at the same time. It's funny. That's what Bruce just said. I totally agree. And the funny thing is I used to hear people talk about being scared and they get all anxious. And what I found is that the fear that I have on taking action on things and the fear that I have when I get on a roller coaster, well, the roller coaster is excitement, but the fear I have taking action, fear being the fear, it feels the same. And as I get agitated inside, if I step back and I look at it, it's really just a physical reaction. And I have a different story for each one, but the physiological response is the same. My heart rate goes up. I start getting a little warm. My pulse moves faster. Feel the heartbeat. On a roller coaster, I scream like a little girl. In the fear situation, I just start listening to my head and tell me all the problems. But my physiological response is exactly the same no matter which one it is. And so I suggest to you that every time you think you're afraid, ask yourself, am I really afraid or am I excited? Is the question, oh no, what could happen? Or is it, oh wow, what can happen? Really kind of get an idea of what can happen. And then stretch your goal. Take action. Motivate yourself by what could happen when you do something. What can I do to move forward? Have a team. It doesn't matter if it's a one-person team, be your teammate. Don't sabotage yourself. Don't get in your way. Don't hesitate. Be your best teammate. Make the goal and take action. But my suggestion is get somebody else on your team too. Don't do it alone. Alone sucks. It's boring. I was a therapist for years, and I'm telling you, I was in an office waiting for these people to come in. If they didn't show up, I'm all alone. I was always on their team when they were in there, but running a business alone sucks. Get a teammate. Get somebody that can align with your vision and argue with them about how to move forward. Come to some agreement about what really matters, because if you're not arguing, you don't care. You just don't care. If you're not having any conflict, it doesn't matter. So get something that matters. Focus on what matters and have a communication around it. Develop some goals around it. Work off of a mission and a vision that moves you forward, and work together to make you and your teammates really focus forward. What's that goal? Is it $1 million? Is it 2 million? Is it a team of 100? Is it 6 figures? It doesn't matter what the goal is, as long as you're stretching. If you're making 50,000 and your stretch goal is 100,000, awesome. That's a great goal. When you hit it or you get close to it, make it 200,000. Make it 500,000. Is your goal to just enjoy your life and to have a lifestyle that you just love to wake up every day? That's great. But if there's no conflict, you're not doing it right. If you're not having any kind of conflict, you're asleep at the wheel. So focus on what's working and what you want and put some effort in. Take action. Scare yourself a little bit. Get on the roller coaster a little bit. Not the emotional roller coaster, but the money roller coaster. Take action, move faster. We talk about the roller coaster as not necessarily a good thing. But if you're not doing anything and you're asleep, just living paycheck to paycheck, get on the roller coaster, scare yourself a little bit. Then we'll help you get on the bullet train. Do something to move forward. A high performance team is looking forward all the time. They're looking for what's next. Are you looking for just today, or are you looking for what's next? These are the questions we ask ourselves every day. What else can we do? Who else can we affect? Are we living for us just to get by? Or are we living for a dream? Are we living for a vision? Are we living to excite a movement? Action is the bridge between my inner and outer world. 100%. I love that. Keep moving forward. Morrow says keep moving forward. That's the key. Because if you're not moving forward, well, you're starting to dig a hole. You're starting to dig a rut. And so we want to move forward. And moving forward is all about having that vision and mission. And if you're not exactly sure about that, contact Morrow at Boom Nation. Contact me. Contact Bruce. Reach out to us and we will help you discover what your mission is, what your vision is, what you want to do. Because we want to help you move forward. We want to help people. That's our mission. Our vision is to help people build their businesses, build their dreams, build their lives the way that they've always wanted. That's what Boom Nation is all about. That's what Boomerang Give to Get is all about. It's about helping you to fund your life. It's about helping you to have a community that is learning and growing and becoming what they've always wanted to be. And you're here listening to this, so obviously you have some kind of idea that you want more in your life. Whether it's just a couple of dollars, a couple of $100, a couple $100,000. We want to help you understand the value of dynamic tension. That's what Bruce says. And I 100% agree. We want that dynamic tension. We want the tension between comfort and discomfort. We want you to stretch. The value of dynamic tension. The way I understand that, Bruce may have a different version of this, but for me, that dynamic tension is the stretch. The more you stretch, the more tension there is, and then the more you can see how well you perform, because performance is in the tension. I don't know if anybody's ever played a guitar or seen some kind of string instrument, but the more tension you put on it, the better it sounds, and you can tune it to exactly where it's supposed to be. If you tighten it too much, it snaps. If it's too loose, it doesn't sound good. And so you want that dynamic tension to sound perfectly. The more you can tune in to what you can stretch to, the more you're going to enjoy your life. You're going to wake up excited. You're going to wake up ready to go. You're going to take action. This is what tension does. Too much, snap. Not enough, bored. You want to have that dynamic tension where you can move forward the way you want to, the way you've always dreamed. And what we're here for, us coaches at Boom Nation, we are here to help you move forward powerfully the way you want. Now I'm going to open up for questions or other people to talk about their experience of this, because I'm tired of hearing myself. So Mauro, Bruce, Yana, love to hear from you. Put you on the spot.
Thank you, Terry. You're absolutely correct. It is that dynamic tension where there's always that stretch on the rubber band, because if there's no stretch, to your point, there's no growth. It's boring. There's too much stress or stretch, it's a break. So it's that dynamic tension where there's always the stretch on the rubber band, and then the mind will grow, and then it stretches again, and then the mind will grow. I like to say it's being able to, what I'll say, tolerate your insecurities long enough to where you get a breakthrough.
Yes.
And then you go to a new level, because that's all it is. You're just clearing out your insecurities, and you're going to a new level, and then go do it again.
Yeah. You remind me of a conversation I was having with somebody earlier. They were talking about imposter syndrome, and they're talking about feeling like they're an imposter because they haven't done it before. And what I told them is, that's not imposter. That's somebody that's stepping into a role that they haven't done.
Yep.
But the problem is they're listening to their head telling them that they don't know anything while they're actually learning something. And so it's that stress, but they're listening more to their head telling they don't know anything, rather than listening to that balanced part of them learning something. And so I feel like the imposter syndrome comes out when we start listening to our head tell us we don't know what we're doing, rather than that we're learning what we're doing, because everybody has to learn something before they become good at it.
Absolutely. It's how you build up confidence, and in order to do that, you've got to have the courage to break through. And courage will happen in a moment. And the moment you have the courage, then you'll have an increased capability, you'll have an increased self-confidence, which will allow you to go do it again at a higher level. Even
Exactly.
if it's just 1 inch more, it's still at a higher level. And each time It's almost like wrapping another elastic band in a ball. Before you know it, you got 100, I'll say, rubber bands in a big ball, and then nobody can literally cut through it.
Yeah. And the cool thing about that is, in order to have courage, you have to have fear.
Absolutely.
And so if people are afraid of moving forward, you're in the right spot, because there's no possibility of having courage if you don't have fear first.
Yep. And again, courage is not doing it in the absence of fear, it's doing it with fear.
Exactly. Maura, you were going to say something.
Yeah, no, I love everything that you said. Everything makes 100% sense. That's exactly what we're doing with Boomerang, with the Boom Nation Gift Get program. Look at the team we already got. That's why we're going to have such success. And in everything I do, it's also trusting your team. I think that's, another very big key point that you mentioned. And for my other businesses, I have a team of people that I fully trust. So, I've been very fortunate. I've been able to meet so many amazing people and team up with them. And so that's why this is going to be really exciting. And the path that we're on is just awesome. So couldn't agree with you more. And like always, you're awesome.
Likewise, but more of it.
Well, and even to that point, because we are what we're I'll say professing as a Boom Nation Give to Get program is to literally take people on a journey to find their greatness within and live the best version of their life. They're only going to do that through conflict. They're only going to do that through fear. They're only going to do that through dynamic tension.
Exactly.
Is it going to be an easy, comfortable journey? No, it's not. Is it going to be worth it? Absolutely.
100%. 100%. One of the things that I really think about more than anything is a high performance team is not a matter of chance. It's intentional activity. It's intentionally getting together and confronting and bringing attention to what's working, what's not working, why isn't it working, and how can we make it work better? And it only comes through being able to have the trust in the people that we can have these conversations without it being shut down, without it being discounted, and with it really being open and, okay, what can we do to move forward? And what Maura was talking about, the teammates that we have and the relationships that we have, I feel so blessed because I have so many people in my life that I have these relationships with. And as I move on my continuous journey of building my company and teaming up with these different companies like Boomerang Give to Get or Alchemist Nation, another group I'm involved in, the teammates that I have and the relationships I have, we have such trust and admiration for each other. And we can talk about what's not working and which direction we think we should go. And we can be those understanding friends, the voice of reason, and be able to really tease out what's next and how to move forward so we can all grow. And it's just an amazing experience to have this level of communication and connection with the people so that we can move forward on these different various missions and help each other along our own mission.
Terry, you just said something that is, well, yet again, very important and very good. But what I wanted to say is a lot of times people will listen to their team and they think that this negative talk, or if they don't agree, oh no, like, what's wrong? What's the problem? Why are they not agreeing? Or are they trying to attack me because of, no, take all the advice you get. That's why you have a team. That's why you put the people that you trust in front of you and you ask them the questions for that reason, because it doesn't matter what the answer is. You want to learn from it, right? And that's so important.
And you bring up an interesting point, Mauro, and Stephanie was asking the question in the chat earlier, Terry, when you were talking. How do you deal with somebody, or how do you work with somebody, or how do you help somebody who, what I'll say, does have an issue with conflict and is not open to what I'll say feedback and or what you're saying, Mauro, correction? Because we all need correction.
Right. The reality is we're all off course. The only way to become on course is by questions. Am I off course? If I never ask that question, then I always think I'm on course. And so the answer to that, the simple answer to that, and if Stephanie wants to talk about that, more than willing to have more of a conversation around that. But asking the question of the person who's off track, or the person that's a little bit more rigid, because what that suggests is they're having an acceptance issue where they're not able to hear and connect with the information. They're on a closed loop. And so when they start opening up to the brilliance of others, which basically means the experience of others, and hear what's going on, they can alter their course. But telling somebody that they're wrong is never going to do it.
No.
It's always got to be started from a question. Okay, if you think that, help me understand it. If I come from a place of understanding and curiosity and acceptance of their view, they'll be much more open to change than if I start telling them they're wrong. It's the old idea of somebody pushing against somebody else's hand. As you push, they're going to push back. But as you release, they'll release. Same idea in the rigidity of someone not wanting to change their mind. Ask them a question. What makes you think the way you think? What's your evidence? I'd like to understand it. I've worked with very, very psychotic people when I was in my training. And what I found is when we work with someone who's broken from reality and we try to challenge that reality, they get very rigid, very scared, and argue with you. But if you agree with them, they open up and tell you more about it, and you can change their point of view by asking them questions. The funny thing is it works with people who are broken from reality. It works with people who are very, very grounded in reality too. Because the more open we are to their point of view, the more open they become to our point of view.
Yeah, Terry, maybe I can add a little something to it.
Oh, of course.
No, I think that, I relate everything to a sporting team. And everyone has got responsibilities, and we have to work towards a goal. So if you have someone who has got conflict, you just have to remind them that we are working towards a goal. And that goal is the most important aspect of the team. In order to achieve that goal, we all have to be together and get to the high performance that we need to be in order to get to the final results. So I think that you can let's say rationalize with somebody who's got conflict that hey, if you are not going to be able to contribute to the team effort, then you're not part of the team. And then some decisions have to be made, and maybe that person has to go. But if that person can understand that the goal is really to achieve the best that the team can achieve, then they will see the benefit of that reasoning and that thought.
It makes total sense. And I'm right on board with you. One of the easiest ways I've found to actually enroll people is to ask them those questions about not necessarily saying, hey, you got to be on the same wavelength as me, but what wavelength are you on? Are you on the same goal as me? As a sports team, are you attempting to win this game the way I am? Are we attempting to win together? Or did you have a different goal? And so when we can have those conversations and really get clear on, is your goal in fact the same as mine? Are you working towards a win, or are you working towards your stats? Then I can start to really understand. We have a basketball team in Portland, Oregon. That's where I live. And there's a guy on that team that I would swear when I'm watching him, he's focused more on his stats than winning the game. And the rest of the team is winning the game. I won't say the name because I don't want to out him, but I watch him play, and every time it really seems like he's more focused on what he's doing rather than the team win. And so I would never tell him that he's a ball hog, although I think it, but I would ask him, hey, are you attempting to have the team win? What else can we do besides building stats that could help the team win? And I would encourage and enroll him into moving forward rather than point out that maybe he's not a fit for our team, because I've never seen a team move forward when we start pointing the finger at who's not on our team. And so the way I think about it is developing a high performance team is really moving in the conflict, but moving in the conflict is really asking the right questions and enrolling people into the vision. and rolling and making sure that we're on the same team. Because maybe they aren't a good fit. Maybe they are not a team player. Maybe they don't belong on the team. But most of the time, they'll eliminate themselves as we ask the right questions.
You bring up an interesting point there, Terry, and it could be another topic for another day too. And that is the business's, I'll say, compensation program aligned with building a team or building stats?
That's a great question.
You
That
know,
is a great question.
because if your compensation is aligned to build stats, but you're attempting to build a team, well, you might be, what I'll say, trying to push water uphill.
Yeah,
From
that
a
never goes.
motivational point of view.
I love
Can't
that.
do that.
If you get a big balloon.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we are out of time for this evening, and I've got another call to jump to. So thank you very much, everyone. Can't wait to hear the recording, see what we can do for you. If you need help with anything, Generator Coaching is here. Reach out to us. Reach out tomorrow. See how we can help you build your business, build your life. We're excited to have you.
Always a pleasure, Terry. Love how you love to serve people.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank
See
you.
you guys.
Okay.